Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories is the second game in my Let's Hate Kingdom Hearts series. In this series, I aim to play through every game in the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 plus 2.5 remix, for the first time I might add, with a pre-existing bias where I think this series is overrated. At the same time, I'm going through these games with hopes of having my mind changed, while also being a bit difficult in the process. While playing through the first game, I only recorded the playthrough and uploaded it to YouTube. With this game, I actually streamed the whole playthrough on my Twitch channel at etren_. Stop by sometimes. I probably won't always stream Kingdom Hearts out of fear of setting an unwanted expectation of only playing Kingdom Hearts games, but, you know, stop by anyways. I'll probably be doing something, unless I'm just like living life or doing other shit. Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, shortened to ReCom, is the second game in the Kingdom Hearts collection and is not to be confused with Chain of Memories, released on the Game Boy. Rechain of Memories was released for the PlayStation 2, taking the game from 2D to 3D. I'm playing this game approximately 6 months after completing the first Kingdom Hearts. And I'm starting this review maybe 1 to 2 weeks after finishing this game because, man, I was just really procrastinating on this and just doing other shit. I think this review won't really go as in-depth as I did with the first game, just because this is not really a whole lot extra to talk about. I'll probably just be talking about what's unique to this game. So, for the most part, I'll just be talking about the story, kind of summarizing it. We'll be getting into spoilers, so if you don't want to get spoiled, probably want to skip it. A lot of people have skipped this game anyways, but, you know, it wouldn't hurt to know what's going on in this game. Then I'll be going into the gameplay of the game, you know, how it's different from the last Kingdom Hearts, and then we'll just go straight into closing thoughts. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. ReCom picks up immediately after the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. The three heroes, Sora, Donald, Goofy, are for some reason drawn towards a place called Castle Oblivion. They meet a dude in a cloak speaking in riddles. After the guy leaves, the gang starts to traverse the floors of Castle Oblivion, each floor being a recreation of worlds from Kingdom Hearts 1, or from the plot's perspective, Sora's memories. Each recreation of a world is created using magical cards. As we progress from world to world, or floor to floor, we notice that the crew's memory is starting to get more screwy, even in special parts of Sora's memory that revolve around Kairi. Now, I'm gonna give another warning. Fat ass spoilers past this part. That was just like the very beginning of the game. Spoilers ahead. The parts of Sora's memories that kind of get screwy around Kairi, she's replaced with another girl named Naminé. We don't know who the hell she is. Naminé's probably a girl around the same age as Sora because, you know, why not? Make all the characters the same age, keep it around kids, you know, beefing with adults. Fuck it. Naminé's a random kid that's being held captive by the bad guys of this game called Organization 13. You know they're really badass because they use Roman numerals instead of just 13. It seems like every member of the organization likes to wear cloaks like the guy in the beginning of the game. Except after they share their identities, they just completely ditch the concept of wearing the hoods. I'm assuming they come back in future games, but in this game, we only meet 4 members of the organization. The first member we meet is named Axel. Real cool redhead dude. He's the first member that we meet. Kinda shady. Don't really know what's going on inside his head. Don't know if he's friendly. Don't know if he's a bad guy. We do fight him a few times, but he seems to care about Sora in a different manner than the rest of the other members that we meet. It seems like he's been using the fire element when he's using his magic, and the weapons that he uses are some pretty badass chakrams. Pretty cool character. The second member that we meet is named Larcene. Bitch is annoying as fuck. Super one-dimensionally evil. Enjoys tormenting Sora. Probably enjoys tormenting people in general. Likes abusing people emotionally. Probably likes hurting people physically as well while we're at it. But for her, she uses lightning. That's her big old magic element. And for her weapons, she uses like some needles shit. And she like slashes you with them and throws them at you and can throw them at the ground and conduct lightning with them because why not? And her hair is yellow just to match the lightning. That's probably the fucking theme. It's just they all have the same hair color as their element. The third member we meet is named Vexen. He seemed like the nerd of the group that everyone makes fun of. Vexen had to have been the punching bag joke of the group just because it seemed like there was never any respect for him. He was the one that created the Riku clone that harasses Sora to aid in screwing with his memories. But yeah, Vexen seems like he's, well, not really seems like, I should say, is attuned to the ice element and fights with an annoying bitch-ass shield. The last member we meet is named Marluxia. He's the last member. Spoilers once again. If you didn't know, fourth guy we meet, we only meet 4, he's the last boss. This man is gorgeous. Kind of a fucking weirdo though. The whole org is weird, if we're being honest, just because they're beefing with kids and they're messing with their minds. I'm not quite sure what his element really is. I'm guessing it's darkness or gravity or something. But he uses a scythe and it's pretty badass. Okay, now that we've finished talking about the 4 organization members that we meet in this game, we're going to be going back to talking about Naminé. Naminé's the one with the power to manipulate memories. I forgot what the org was using to threaten her, but I would probably assume if she didn't help or comply, they'd probably just kill her. The organization used her powers to manipulate Sora's memories in hopes of somehow gaining control of him, the Keyblade Master. While getting his memories fucked with, Sora becomes an asshole, and just mentally unstable during the plot. After fighting through the floors and some of the members of the org, he finally meets Naminé, where she confesses everything that she's done. That she isn't the person of his memories, and that person's supposed to be Kairi. After defeating Marluxia, Sora chose to forgive Naminé for a stupid reason. Like, I would forgive her too, right? But he just keeps ignoring the fact that his memories were tampered with, and the only reason that he likes her is because that's how his memory is currently set to be, right? Like your whole friendship that you have going on in your head with Naminé is something that was just completely fabricated. You're literally saying, yeah, my memories are fake, but these feelings are real. Yeah, the feelings are real because they come from fake memories. It doesn't matter. The causation does not equal the result. It does not mean it's authentic. Excuse me. I mean authentic. My mouth was dry. But going back to the situation at hand, Naminé offers to restore Sora's and friends' memories with the caveat that they won't remember a single thing that happened during the game, including Naminé. The obviously correct option to choose would be to have your memories restored, which is exactly what Sora and his friends chose to do. Before undergoing the sleep-like process that would be required to have his memories restored, Sora made the bold claim that even if he forgets Naminé, he won't forget because of the new connection of their hearts or some shit. I still find this bullshit, but good for you, Sora. The crew enters a sleep-like state in some sort of Super Saiyan medical pods from Dragon Ball, and that's pretty much where it sets us up for Kingdom Hearts 2. And the end of the story. And that is the entire story of Recom in a nutshell. Did you think that was it? Cause newsflash, buddy, there's actually more. Once you complete the main story of Kingdom Hearts Reach Into Memories, you have just completed Sora's story, and then you immediately unlock Riku's story. Riku's story mode covers Riku and Mickey after the events of Kingdom Hearts 1. The story mode is called Reverse/Rebirth. The story starts with Riku waking up at the bottom of Castle Oblivion before working his way up. During your time as Riku, you are confronted by new members of the organization, the Riku copy that Vexen made, remnants of Ansem, and his own internal darkness. Riku fights Vexen a few times, fucks up Lexaeus, a brutish dude with a gut sword. Then he goes on to fight Zexion, who's a blue-haired dude with a book, and he can take your cards and add more cards to his own deck, and it's annoying. Riku comes to terms with his inner darkness and is able to coexist with it, and he fights the Riku replica a few times. After getting through all of those buffoons, he finally meets up with Naminé. He learns of the events that Sora's going through, what Naminé's done, who Naminé is, what's been going on. After learning about Sora, he decides, alright, it's time to go finally body Ansem once and for all. With the help of King Mickey, they finally kill Ansem once and for all, getting rid of him, even though I thought that's what we did at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1, but I guess he survived somehow. I would expect this to symbolize Riku walking on a path that's in between both light and dark. Dare I say, the path of dawn. When finally leaving Castle Oblivion, Riku and Mickey talk with a guy named Diz, with a capital D, lowercase I, and a capital Z. Amazing. Wonderful spelling. This guy, I really don't know who he is. I don't know what he's about. He's dressed funny. He's dressed weird. He seems to know about the organization. He's got eyes like Ansem. He's probably Ansem or Ansem's like brother or something. But, you know, after they get done talking to Ansem, they embark on their own journey, kind of separate from Sora. So he doesn't wait for Sora, Goofy, and Donald. He does his own thing. This will go on to set up Riku and Mickey for Kingdom Hearts 2. I believe as well this is right before the secret cutscene that you can unlock in Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix, where you'll see probably Riku and Mickey in the same cloaks that the organization is wearing, and just killing a bunch of shadows in a random town. I think what's special about Chain of Memories and Rechain of Memories is I think the game was built around the original Kingdom Hearts 1 rather than the Final Mix version, so I don't think the secret cutscene was made in mind of this game, so something to fact check me on your own. Now that we've got the entire story out of the way, we're going to be moving on to talking about the gameplay mechanics of this game. Previously mentioned, this entire game revolves around cards. Kind of seemed like whoever was writing the plot for the game had a really tough or really adamant card phase. The first thing I want to talk about when talking about the cards are the card numbers. Cards can have a play value of 0 through 9. You or your enemy can play a card, and then if the other person plays a higher card, your card will be broken, and the higher card will be played. This is called card break. When a break occurs, the person that is card broken is kind of stunned for a few moments. This leaves you vulnerable to attacks of the breaker and whatever is after. Cards with a value of 0 can cancel out any card. Not really breaking, but mostly just canceling it out and just making it not playable. Playing cards at the same value will cancel each other out, similar to playing a 0. Some of that's probably iffy in explanation, so I recommend playing the game yourself or looking it up elsewhere where people are more detailed and probably more researched about this, but I'm just going about this, just trying to get this thing out, trying to get this done. Now that we're done talking about card numbers, we're going to talk about card types. There's a few different card types to look at when assembling your deck. You've got attack cards. These are physical attack cards, with there being multiple types of attack cards, each one being a different keyblade that Sora unlocked in the first game. You can combo different values and card types for a mechanic called slights, which I'll get into after talking about all the combat card types. The next type to cover is the magic card type. The number side of things work universally across the board with all of their cards. With magic cards, however, they allow you to use different spells that Sora's learned. Fire, Blizzard, Thunder, Gravity, Cure, Stop, and Arrow. The next category is summon cards. These cards let you summon friends to help you out. Friends like Simba, Cloud, Genie, Dumbo, and other ones that I can't think off the top of my head. Each friend has their own special move that they tend to do. For example, Simba will shout, Cloud will do some slashes, Genie will cast random spells. Even spells that can heal enemies that absorb the element. Jesus Christ, Genie, why would you do that? The next type is the friend card. Friend cards are similar to summons, but these aren't the type of cards where you're able to just put them in your deck. I don't know what makes them appear, but they'll randomly drop in the middle of battle. Unlike summon cards, these will only be cards of like your immediate allies, so in Riku's case it's Mickey, in Sora's case it's Donald and Goofy, and then if you're in like Agrabah it'll be Aladdin, or if you're in, fuck's that place called? Atlantica, then your only allies will be fucking Aladdin. Occasionally you'll be able to summon Pluto, even though Pluto never really shows up like in cutscenes with you, but Pluto will show up just to dig up cards and give you random shit. Next up is the item card. Item cards are cards that can restore your cards that you've previously played without reloading. Potions can restore your attack cards, ether cards can restore your magic cards or your summon cards, then you have elixir cards which can restore both. Previously I mentioned the ability to reload cards. Why would you reload cards, you might ask? That's because when you play a card, it leaves your hand. When it leaves your hand, where does it go? It goes back to your deck. So in order to get those cards back from your deck, you need to reload your hand. How do you reload your hand? Well, that's easy. You scroll over to the reload button card thing, you hold it, Sora stands still like an idiot and recharges a bar. Each time you refill the bar, the next time you reload gets longer and it takes more time. Thankfully, it'll only increase up to 3 times, so you only have to fill the bar 3 times to overload your hand, and that's only at most. It'll never go past 3. It won't go 4, it won't go 5, it just stops at 3. The next feature I will go into are called slates. Slates. Slights. Slates. Slights. I like slates. The slate mechanic is where you can combo up to 3 cards to do a special move. All you gotta do is just combo 3 cards by pressing triangle or Y 3 times, and then when you're ready to play it, press it a final time. When using a slate, it'll add up all 3 numbers that you have combined, and that'll be the value of your played card. There's one very important thing you gotta remember. The first card that you queue in a slate will not be reloadable. That card will not return to your deck, so reloading your deck will not bring that card back ever. I think it kind of balances out the game, because that way you can't just spam triangle, 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 constantly throwing out, 30 card hands and never letting your opponent attack. So if you do slates enough times in a fight, you might end up with only 2-3 cards and you're kind of fucked. Oh wait, I think I actually have footage of that. Why don't we let that roll real quick?
Freeze! Heal!
Body crashes! Come on! Come on!
So locked in.
Come on!
Yeah! Freeze! Heal!
You won't make a dope out of me! Come on! Come on! Come on!
Yeah!
Let's go! Oh my god. Thank God engages out with the boys. Thankfully, there is a way to get your unreloadable cards back. Previously, I mentioned the category the item card. Well, there are actually higher tier item cards where you can use them to restore non-reloadable cards. That would be either a high potion or a max potion, high elixir, high ether, max ether. You get the idea. As long as it's higher than the standard tier, you'll be able to bring those cards back. That being said, if you use those item cards in a slate, and they are the first cards in your slate, you can still lose those cards too, so don't be an idiot. I did that a few times. Because I didn't really finish, we're gonna go back and talk more about slates. Like I said, slates can be comboed to do just a certain string of actions that you have queued up when you put the cards together. However, if you combo them with a certain criteria in mind, you will activate special moves. These are the actual slates, rather than just putting 3 cards up at once. I will add that there are some very, very unbalanced and busted slates, but I will go into that a little bit later, but I will put up some video examples and, recipes for them on the screen right now. I didn't completely finish talking about all the cards you can add to your deck or to your hand, but I wanted to talk about these at first. The next card I'm going to talk about is the item card. Fuck! I meant enemy card. Enemy cards can occasionally drop from random trash mobs that you fight, or you can get them from fighting bosses. The boss drops are the ones that are guaranteed. These cards grant temporary buffs, abilities, status effects, etc. whenever they're activated. They only have a one-time use and you're not really going to get them back. I didn't really use a whole lot of them. The only one I ever really used was Jafar, and Jafar was kind of part of making my build / deck pretty busted. What Jafar did was make it so that whatever card you were playing or whatever slate you were using cannot be broken. So pretty much making it so that if you play a slate, they're not going to let your opponent play 0 to break your shit. Your shit's going through. Now that we've gotten through all of the cards that you can add to your hand / deck, we can talk about what is the mechanic for deciding how many cards you can have in your deck. That is decided by card points. Your deck is limited to fitting cards based on this mechanic called card points, and each card has a set amount of card points assigned to that card. I will not be abbreviating this term, ever. Each card has a certain amount of card points. You have the option of upgrading your card point limit whenever you level up. The higher your card points, fundamentally the more cards you can have, or higher value cards you can have. Now that we're done talking about deck cards and battle cards and hand cards and blah 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 cards, we can talk about map cards. These map cards are used outside of battle. On each floor of Castle Oblivion, rooms are separated by doors. In order to open these doors, you need map cards. A door could have certain requirements like using the right color, having a higher or lower or even equal value to the door. Maybe you also need to have a bunch of cards to funnel all the numbers to equal the sum or greater of a certain number. Some cards are locked behind progression. I've been referring to these progress doors where they need a story card as, golden story cards. Each color tends to have a categorical effect. Red cards seeming to affect the way the enemies behave in the next room. Blue cards seem to affect the contents of the room. Green cards seem to affect the player itself, maybe buffing or debuffing the character. I'm getting so tired while making this. Moving on to playing as Riku, you don't have a lot of the luxury and privileges that Sora does. You do get some new shit though. All of Riku's moves and slates and his decks are all predetermined, and they're all pretty much the same throughout each level, except each level the cards kind of change in terms of what order the cards are stored in, what cards you've actually got, and whatnot. There's two very big things when it comes to Riku. One is he has a mode called Dark Riku, where Dark Riku can turn into kind of like how he was when he was getting controlled by Ansem, with that purple suit thing and that dark sword he's got. And here he's got some empowered moves, new slates, better kind of DPSing, I guess. This is kind of the mode you want to stay in, and you kind of get knocked out of it if you get hit. Well, not just get hit, but you keep getting hit, and eventually the bar runs out. The second thing to talk about when playing as Riku is the dueling mechanic. To activate the dueling mechanic, when an enemy plays a card, all you have to do is just play a card with the same value. Once you do that, you'll be prompted to press Y or triangle to enter a duel. All you gotta do is within a certain time, play cards that will either cancel out your opponent's cards, being like a 0, the same number, a higher number. Do it multiple times until you win the duel, and you pretty much just do a little animation and get free damage out of it. However, if you're like me, you cheese the shit out of it. Check out this clip. Let's go! Let's go! And that's really all there is to cover about Riku. There's a few minor things I wanted to touch on. In terms of gameplay, movement is exactly the same, except they give you roll for free. It's not an ability that you need to equip. The guard skill and a lot of equipable skills are gone. You're able to see enemy health by default, there's no MP meter. Just like the first game, you can run your head against the wall and eventually make it out as the victor. With the right 1 or 2 decks, you're easily able to plow your way through the game. This is where I want to talk about the Vision. The Vision was a deck that I created, and it's the deck that I use to just absolutely destroy each and every room that I went into. Each time I went into a room and got into an encounter with a random group of enemies, the Vision would be able to immediately AoE stun everything. And then I would just repeat it and stun lock them until they all died and I immediately got out of the room. It involved just comboing Simba into Simba into Simba into Simba. However, with the help of an amazing, super awesome person that I met named Engage End, go check him out too, he taught me about using the tornado skill on enemies that are able to be moved around. There are plant enemies that they can't be moved, they kind of just sit in one spot the entire time, but enemies that can be picked up, thrown around, blah 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 and whatever. It's great for clearing those rooms and getting a whole bunch of XP off of them. The second deck that I used was called the Method. I accept no credit for creating the Method, or I don't know if Engage would either, but he's the one that brought it to me. I'm sure the entire community is using the Method, but it just entails using elixirs and whatever to get my cards back, and just spamming a time stop spell that lets you slash the shit out of your opponent. Lethal Frame. That's called Lethal Frame. I had to look it up real quick. It's called Lethal Frame. Just spamming Lethal Frame. You set up Lethal Frame, you play the Jafar card so that they can't break your cards, then you just keep using Lethal Frame, Lethal Frame, Lethal Frame, Lethal Frame. You stun the enemy, you lock them, you do a whole slash animation, they get hit, dot, 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 dot. Cue it up again, spam the shit out of triangle, run it all over again. Use your elixirs, use your high potions, use your max potions, use your high whatever, max whatever. Get those cards back. Spam that shit all over again until they die. I'm never going to try it, but I assume that once you get the deck set up, you can probably plow through Proud Mode just as easily as well. Some other things to go over, back to the game itself. They removed the ability to switch your lock-on target. I thought that it would still be good to have in the game, but I guess it's gone. At least I couldn't figure out how it worked. Flying and swimming is completely removed from the game. I think since we're diving into Sora's memories, Sora must have forgotten when he became a mermaid and gained the ability to fly in Atlantica and Neverland. But this is my headcanon. Big improvements to the camera. While being locked on to an enemy, you're able to actually move the camera around. It's amazing. Still slow, but amazing. Thank you. I am told that a lot of the combat is improved in later games, and I can confirm it's true. They're taking steps to make things better. But next up is Kingdom Hearts 2, and I'm hoping that one will be really fun and not as mechanically clunky as the first game, and maybe smoother than the second game, but not with cards. That being said, though, I do think this game went very smoothly because I was basically locking out enemy attacks because they can't attack me when I have my cards being played. Alright, time for some closing thoughts. I'm going to read this bar for bar as how I wrote it. This game, I think, is once again a very innovative game for its time. Since the original version of the game was on Game Boy, I can only assume they made a PS2 remake for the fans that didn't want to play the Game Boy version. It felt like a very creative experience. The only downside I felt was that the level design felt like a big downgrade from the first game. I understand why. It being a remake of the Game Boy version where that was already in place design of the game, it didn't have exploration and special map mechanics that made each world unique. Now it feels more akin to just a reskin. What this game lacked in levels made up for in combat. Don't get it twisted, I would have much preferred to keep the game without cards, that way my attacks are unlocked behind having a high card. I also hated my attacks getting cancelled out because an enemy played a higher card, a higher slay, or a 0. But I kinda enjoy the feeling of when I became broken. That being said, I probably didn't get the proper experience with someone that isn't cheesing the game. Once I established the vision and the method, I started making strides in the game, having roadblocks only in my ability to not be an idiot. Lastly, I want to talk about the plot. I found it both silly, but interesting at the same time. Kind of. I thought the entire time that Sora's plot was just infuriating. Yes, I understand. Things are weird. Yes, I understand. Your memories are being screwed with. Yes, I know you're being gaslit. Why are you being an asshole to Donald and Goofy? Donald, I understand. But why Goofy? The members of the organization are conceptually really cool characters, but I still don't understand why Sora was okay with treating Naminé as if the memories of her are real. I feel like I recalled him saying something stupid like, "My memories aren't real, but the way I feel about you are." Not the exact words, but same concept. Just low-key pissed me off. Y'all can be friends, but after you make some real memories. You're just accepting the gaslighting. I thought Riku's story section was really cool. I hated playing through the levels because it felt like a very Crash Course-esque rendition for him. It felt like I was being rushed through, understandably so. I just experienced the whole thing with Sora. But his plot was a little cooler. The levels weren't, but his moveset rocked. His levels just felt like you were playing through the same shit that Sora did, except there was no stories, no cutscenes throughout the entire thing. Once you ran into a boss, there was no dialogue, you just fought him, and then the next room you walked into was just a ladder out immediately, rushing you into whatever was next. All in all, I don't think this is a bad game. I thought it was pretty good. A lot of people skipped it just because they didn't want to wrap their heads around the card mechanic of the game, and that's understandable. It's a little annoying, but it's something to figure out. And once you figure it out, it can kind of get fun. Kind of like a better game out there. Like maybe a whole genre of games. And maybe one of the creators of a popular game in that genre also has another game with a similar mentality where if you figure things out, it gets a little better. But going back to Reach Out of Memories, I don't feel anything wrong with giving this game a 6 out of 10 as well. Maybe 6.5. Do I think people should give this game a chance? If you're playing through Kingdom Hearts, I'd say yeah, why not? The plot's there, it's worth going through. However, if you really don't want to deal with the card system, I think the plot is worth looking into. That way it kind of connects 1 and 2 for you. Now, before I send you guys out, play the highlight reel of the method. Oh my god. This is the greatest game of all time. Oh my gosh. That is so awesome. Games are fake as fuck. I'm about to call it today. Yeah, first they fucking die. So fucking we can do like method. Bitch alone and do a fake heal, but fuck. Get one. This is the greatest game of all time. This is immersive gameplay, interactive gameplay. Absolutely interactive. Let's go. Shut up. That was stress.
This is the heart of a hero.
Let's.